Hello, and welcome to Talk, Therapy, Heal, a dynamic and engaging show that endeavors to shatter the many stigmas surrounding mental health and therapy. Talk, Therapy, Heal is a collective of licensed counselors, therapists, and life coaches, unique in areas of specialization, expertise, and experience. Through the art of curated, genuine, compassionate conversation, we get to the deep things. We are so excited you chose to begin your healing journey with us. Tune in to Talk, Therapy, Heal.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talk Therapy Heal, where we bring the tough conversations to the table. So we want you all to join us tonight as we speak about Can You Hear Me Now?
What does that mean? Can you hear me now? I'm reminded of that commercial. Was it Verizon?
Verizon, can you
Oh,
hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Right,
Can you hear me
right.
now? But that ain't what we're talking about.
It's not.
In a sense, somewhat, but that's not what we're talking about. What are we talking about? Can you hear me now?
It reminds me when I think about it is, and of course I'll go relational because that's my thing. Couple when they're in an argument
Mhm.
and they're trying to get their spouse to hear them, or even in a family dynamic when you're trying to get a family member to hear you,
Mhm.
but they're not listening to understand, but listening to respond.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I kind of think of, what is that, Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan? Do you hear the words?
Right. Yeah.
I know. And that's so crazy because it's almost like people are speaking a foreign language to one another, even though it sounds familiar or sounds
Mhm.
similar, it's foreign.
Right.
Why would it be foreign though? Like me having a dialogue with you, we can understand each other. But if I'm talking to someone, maybe I don't know, who's been through trauma, what I'm saying to them may not hit the same that it'll hit with you. And so it sounds like I'm speaking Spanish when I'm speaking English.
Absolutely.
That's a good point.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
I think, depending on the relational aspect of it, um, if you ask that question, can you hear me now? You know, the person may be looking for validation and trying to tell you something, but you're not getting the point that I'm trying to make. Or have I been neglected for so long that I'm screaming to you, can you really hear what I'm trying to say? But you can't piece together because maybe you're too close to the situation. Maybe you have a problem understanding it, or maybe you just don't want to hear it because you don't want to deal with the real issue that's at hand.
So then what I'm hearing what all of you all are saying, like the whole dynamic of trying to get across what you need to say to someone and it's not being received well.
Mhm.
What would stop someone from being able to receive well what you're saying, or even that person who is trying to deliver that message that's not being received? Because it could be on the deliverer,
Mhm.
right? On how they're delivering the message that is not being received. What is that, a foundational thing? Would we say that's foundation?
I would say absolutely is foundational. I think in um, some households, as a kid, your voice is silenced.
Right.
Children are to be seen and not heard.
Oh, yeah.
That is, I guess, a stereotype. Well, not a stereotype, but a mantra. We call it a mantra. You know what I mean? That has been spoken maybe over all of our lives.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so if it's in your childhood, um, and it's not resolved,
Mhm.
which can be difficult to resolve in childhood, but if it's not resolved, it's going to carry on. That same pattern of silence, it's gonna move forward.
It's true.
I love that because I was thinking the same thing in terms of foundational childhood things of being silenced as a kid, ignored, or even
Mhm.
dismissed too,
Yes.
as a kid. And sometimes as adults, when we find our voice, some of us can't stop using it, but we use it in a way that it sounds like a weapon,
Right.
Wow.
or it becomes a weapon, or we use it in a sense or in a way that it's not the adult us speaking, it's that little kid and you screaming to be heard. So your words come out in a screaming tone. The delivery of it is totally off because that little kid is the one who's really wanting to be heard. And the adult you, because you really don't know that, you don't know how to tame, if you will, that inner child to calm them down so that their words can be received well. They just come out however, because what do kids do when they can't really say what it is that they need?
They cry.
They
throw a
cry.
fit.
Yeah, tantrum.
Throw a tantrum.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what adults do,
Yeah.
right? When they get older and no one's hearing them, or mom, because mama, look at me, mama, 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 and she doesn't pay you any attention, you just break out. You get upset, you crying, you screaming, and that's exactly what you do as an adult when
Absolutely.
people don't hear you.
That's true.
And I think it's not only the verbal aspect of it as well. I know we're going to focus on that, for this show, but sometimes that verbiage doesn't come across. They don't have that voice, so now it comes out in actions. If I can't tell you what I'm trying to, and you can't understand, now I'm going to show you something. And if that doesn't get the person's attention, the person just feels completely lost. And I think a lot of times what we have to go back to, Shan says it all the time, we all know it as counselors, that we have to go back to the root. Where did it all start from? And sometimes it's family dynamics.
Yeah.
How did you grow up? Where did you grow up geographically? Was it a cultural issue, a trauma issue? Was it control that was placed over you as the reason why you did not have a voice as a child? And then let's say you jump from a family aspect to going to school. Did you have an issue or a circumstance that happened at school? A teacher scolded you, a coach scolded you, one of your friends did something, and that took away your voice. And then you continue to grow, and now that becomes emotional. And so now anytime anybody says anything to you, you creep down and you don't use your voice. But then once you finally find it in some type of way, you're so loud, everybody's looking at you like, man, why are they so loud and obnoxious? Why do they have to put so much emphasis on this and this and that? And it's all because that voice that you had as a child was never allowed to be put out.
So I think this is a perfect place for us to really give the people an understanding of what we mean by voiceless, right? Not having a voice. So Shane, you want to share?
Yes. So the definition that I pulled up come from Google, voiceless definition in relationships. And so it says, in a relationship, being voiceless means that one partner consistently suppresses their thoughts, feelings, needs, and desires, leading to a profound sense of not being heard, understood, or respected. This symbolic loss of voice erodes authenticity and can be a sign of deeper communication issues or an unhealthy dynamic.
Unhealthy dynamic.
Unhealthy.
As you were speaking, I was thinking about kind of the transition that you expressed from the child to the adult. And in the therapy world, I call that survival adaptation. And so it's the thing that you had to do, what I mean, in order to make it. Yeah, in order to, make it through just daily situations and circumstances. But how should I say? This topic is a pretty deep one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you really think about it, because I think being able to speak your truth and it be heard, to me, it looks like safety. And when you're unable to do that, then you begin to feel unsafe. So yeah. So a lot of times, the silence that you may have from childhood to adulthood, how should I say? If it's not dealt with, it'll lead to, now y'all know I'm quiet.
Go for
Y'all
it.
know I'm
Open
quiet.
it up.
I'm just going to throw this out there. So y'all know that we've been sharing with you about the relational wounds, and just to be real and just to maybe get up in your face just a little bit. I experienced a mother wound. Hi, mama. I love you. Uh, and so the words that were spoken over me, um, I would say as a teenager was, um, Larisha, your mouth is going to be the death of you.
Wow.
Your mouth is going to be the death of you. And so I'm sharing this, y'all, not because I want y'all to feel sorry for me, you know what I mean, or anything like that. But sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I think you said words do hurt.
Yes.
But the voice, right? The voice in it was a mother, the person that was supposed to be nurturing and encouraging and uplifting. That statement came from her, right? And it was, to me, I received it as like a curse,
Oh, wow.
Yep.
right?
Wow.
And so oftentimes what would happen was, even though I went from being silent to calling things out, calling the dysfunction out, that I saw around me, when I got to adulthood, I began to go silent.
Yep.
And so if there was any situation that looked like a threat to my safety, and I'm not talking about just like fighting, like physical safety, like emotional safety,
Yeah.
I would be silent. I would be quiet, and I would question my thoughts. I would question what I needed, you know what I mean, in that particular moment. And so I would always revert to not saying anything, right?
So you taught yourself.
Right. It was that survival adaptation along the way. Now, big picture was, as a kid, I was told, kids are meant to be seen and not heard,
Yep.
right? But my teenage years, I'm like, wait a minute, hold up, you know what I mean? And so I began speaking out in my teenage years, speaking to the dysfunction that was going on in my house. But again, big picture is, along the way, I lost my voice.
Yes.
Right? Along the way, I had to regain my voice. And I'll share just a little bit down the road. But what was a curse is no longer a curse, and it's broken, and I'm walking in a healed space.
Right.
When we think about our voices, we really have to ask ourselves, is this the 8-year-old me talking? Is this the 14-year-old me talking? Is this that little kid that's crying out for help? You know what I mean? Or is this healed adult, you know what I mean, space that we're coming from?
Oh my God. Oh my God. What I'm hearing you say, especially even in your teenage years, when you were told what you were told as a child, you started to use your voice as your power. But that power was rejected.
And I didn't know how to use it.
Right. So it came out and demanding, it came out in a sense like, you gonna hear me.
Oh yeah.
You gonna hear what I have to say. And a lot of times I think that's what we do with our voice, especially when we find it. You found yours early, but then it was stifled again to the point where you shut it down because of what was spoken to you or over you. That took the power away from you, took away your ability to be vulnerable as well in that situation. But what I'm hearing is that when we use our voice as adults, we think of it as, this is my power.
Yeah.
I can say what I want, do what I want, speak how I want, but it's really that inner child in you wanting to be heard, demanding to be heard, kind of like what we said before with throwing a tantrum because I need you to hear me, but that's my power. You can't shut me up. My word, what they say, free speech. I have free speech.
Yeah.
To say what now that speech costs you.
Yeah. Well,
it costs.
that's a good one there.
It costs.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And when we were looking at this, of course, from a child or adolescent standpoint, sometimes we have to understand the very things that were said to us, like Larisha, by our parents and people around us. That is what started to close the mouth, close the voice piece, if you will. So it was things like, you always got something to say. You always got a question. What now? Be quiet. Boy, be quiet. Girl, be quiet. Or this one. Ain't nobody got time for that. You're trying to get something out that's important to you, but ain't nobody got time for it. So that makes you suppress.
Right.
It makes you feel less than. And then we wonder why individuals grow up with all these behavioral health issues and diagnoses that are going on.
Right.
And so when we look at this, we understand that a person being voiceless, that there's detriment there. So ask yourself the question, what does that voicelessness cost you?
Mhm.
It can cost you missed opportunities.
Mhm.
People are not there to advocate for you. They don't understand your needs, your talents, your wants, your desires. So that it makes you feel worthless or like you can't get to a place where you need to be in order to feel accomplished about yourself.
Mhm.
Another portion of that is Nikki's thing, identity confusion.
Mhm.
Because I don't have a voice, how am I supposed to know what to say or do because I don't know who I am?
Yeah.
You took something that I identify as, and so now I can identify myself. And we wonder why we ask these questions. Well, who are you? And nobody knows. They can't say that.
Oh.
And then the last thing there is the difficulties in relationships. When you have been hurt by someone who has taken your voice, you often look for someone else to replace that relationship. And if that person doesn't hear your voice, now you really feel like you're lost because now my mama didn't hear me, my daddy didn't hear me, my girlfriend, my wife. Why is it that nobody can hear me? And we blame ourselves and it's not us. A lot of the times it's people around us. So I'm going to go out on a wild limb here and I'm going to see if I can find this real quick. I'm going to say the reason why a lot of children have their voices taken away is because their voice is so strong.
Mhm.
They're going to correct something
Mhm.
that shouldn't be or shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So from a biblical standpoint, and I'm not trying to change the word or twist it, but Mark, the 21st chapter says, Jesus answered and said unto them, verily I say unto you, if you have faith and doubt not, you shall not only do this which is done to the fig tree, but also if you shall unto this mountain be thou removed and be cast into the sea, it shall be done. See, a lot of times children are saying stuff that's not, they realize is not right. They're trying to tell mom and daddy about something, but they don't want to hear it because they know if they hear and they act on it, that mountain is going to have to be removed.
Yeah.
That mountain may be that pedophile. It may be that individual that is being verbally abusive, physically abusive. And that's why I think a lot of times kids' voice gets shut down because, believe it or not, children are innocent, but they can recognize. And when people start to recognize that kids see certain things like that, it's easy to put a muzzle on them, if you will, because now they don't have to deal with the situation because they're the ones that's going to bring it to the boiling point.
Yeah. You know, it made me think about just what you were saying and some of the things that, we customarily hear in growing up. You know how when you have it's three things. When you have a child that you could tell is dynamic, you can see it in them while they're young. However, and you would hear, oh, that child is wise beyond their years. One day that child, it's funny to me in what you're saying, how people try to stifle a child's voice. They will even say, because children are, like they say, blameless, they're innocent, and they can very well see some things. And then when a child starts to speak things, instead of that parent saying, wow, okay, let me identify some in me. Maybe that's the healed parent that's talking. We talking about the unhealed that don't, or whatever. Then they'll turn around and get mad at that child. Oh, you sassing, you back talking, you being disrespectful. No, I'm only 8 years old, and I'm just wondering. It's funny because I think I said this one time. Why we calling this person uncle when they ain't really uncle? Like, are they married? This is an 80-year-old asking these questions. And then, shut up, girl. That ain't none of your business. You don't be out here. Yeah, don't be out here telling people business and this. Yeah, get out of grown folks. Get over yonder somewhere. Oh,
that's a good one.
get out my mouth.
I remember that.
Yes.
You all up in my mouth.
Yeah.
Get out my mouth.
All these types of things, even though it was cute, and we were talking about this before we came on, the air is like how sometimes we even regurgitated those same things. And it's like, I don't think we really understand how detrimental that is now. No, not to y'all new age parents. But I wonder, do you even cultivate a voice in your child? Or are you just sticking devices in front of their face so you don't have to deal with them?
Yep.
Because when we talk about voicelessness and not having a voice, but isn't this ironic? Yeah, I had to go there because this was in the forefront of my mind too. I couldn't forget. Isn't it ironic that some of us, and I'll just say this, as parents, do not take time to cultivate our children's voices? But then in their marriage, I'm mad at you because I asked you a question. Why you not saying anything? Why you not speaking up? But we are the same parents that will not cultivate our own children's voice. Our own children cannot have a conversation with us. But then we are bullying, and wives, listen, it's 3 wives on this panel, right? It's 3 wives. And I'm not going to say we like this. However, wives are more commonly than not to be and said this. Well, why you not saying nothing? Why you not? I asked you a question, blase, blase, blah. Ma'am? Are you doing the work to break that curse in the future generation? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I don't, it's ironic to me, but I'll even add this piece. Because I say this often, I find myself saying this often in the counseling room, is that do you ever look at where your spouse, and I know we're talking about children, but do you look at where your spouse came from? How your spouse was raised? We just think we get this ring on our finger and everything's supposed to be magic. But I don't want to deal with my spouse's past. Well, if you don't ask some questions, are you still going to get mad at the grown man or woman that's standing right in front of you? Their past is what made them or didn't make them, in some cases, who they are today. So I don't think people look at that in that dynamic, or even with friendships. Girlfriends, well, I say something and then she's just quiet. But have you ever asked? And I understand y'all not therapists. I get that. But just think about where they came from and see why is it that they are the way they are today.
Right.
And maybe God has placed you in their lives to plant a seed. So if you're healed and you went through, don't knock the ones who haven't been through their healing yet. Just plant the seed and pray for them because prayers is free. I say that all the time. It don't cost you nothing.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that's my dust deal.
Yeah, I think some people getting to that point of understanding a child, understanding an adolescent, and even an adult that didn't have a voice. What do you have to do in order to help that person progress, move forward, and have a voice? And I think what you have to do is, number one, look a little deeper at the relationship that you're in. Ask that person directly what it is that they need or they're trying to verbalize to individuals so that you get clarity out of that. Start looking at the actions that are there that are connected to the lack of the voice. See, I'll use this as an example. You may have a female that had what we used to say daddy issues. She's trying to tell her daddy that she needs him for whatever reason. He's not there, whether it be for work or a choice that he's not making. Maybe they have some issues within the relationship. Now, she goes on to be a teenager and an adult woman, but the only thing she knows is to jump from man to man to man, because what she's really looking for is her daddy and these other men. All because she didn't have that voice and wasn't given that opportunity to say, daddy, hold on that, stop. Can you just sit here and talk to me for a minute? So now she doesn't get it, what she needs from the source. She goes to other things that soothes it, but it never really quite gratifies. And so we have to look at those actions as well. Everybody is not doing things just because they're a bad person or because they just felt like waking up doing something. Sometimes it's attributed to things that were going on in their past, and they're still searching to try to have that voice, but they're doing it through actions now.
Okay. Okay. So I'm thinking, like you said, like, how do we help people find that voice? And the thing that came to me as you were talking is like, I know we can't go because people may be asking, well, I didn't have a voice. I can't go back into my childhood because we know we can't go back into the mama's womb and be reborn and all of the things. But you can be reborn.
Yeah.
You don't have to re-enter the womb to be reborn. You can be reborn. Sorry,
come on.
No, you're good. You could definitely be reborn. And so I think it's reprogramming the mindset to receive or to understand that I can do something different, or giving yourself permission that you can do something different than what has been taught you, what has been passed down to you. We talked about in a previous show on templates that's been passed down, and we just take that template and carry it forward. Like we were off camera talking about a lot of the things that were said to us, we said to our children growing up because that template. But when we found that we can change the template, we did something different. We began to speak and cultivate life, or speak life into our children, and giving them the ability, hey, I may not have had the ability to use my voice as a child, but you do. But there's boundaries as well in that, using your voice as a child, because we're not saying to just allow your child to just speak all crazy to you like they somebody off the street. Yeah, I have to pull myself back in, because the way I see some of these kids talking to these parents, I'm like, oh, they got a voice.
Yeah.
Listen, they got a voice.
Gotcha.
But cultivating, I want you all to hear the difference between someone talking and someone communicating, because there's a difference between talking and just communicating. When you talk, you just speak words. Words are just coming out and they have no meaning. There's no trajectory on it, where it's going, what it's going to do for real, in my opinion. But when you're communicating, there's strategy behind it. There's something to deliver. There's a place it's going.
Right. Feeling emotion.
Right. And we're not teaching our children to communicate. We're just teaching them to use words.
Right.
To have words. And I feel like I'm jumping all over the place, because I got so many thoughts running through my head when I'm thinking about being voiceless, but being able to translate this now voicelessness that I grew up with into a child who can have a voice.
Right.
Even while again, you are rebirthing yourself. We talk about all the time, reparenting yourself. You don't have to allow that child inside of you. And maybe that's the thing. I'm speaking to you for that inner child, for you to reparent that inner child and let that kid know in you that they do have a voice, but there's a way to use it. That you don't have to just talk, you can communicate. Because I feel like when people find their voice, they utilize it in, like I said before, a weaponized way. It comes across like, oh, you're going to hear me and I don't care how you feel about it. And that's not how you use your voice, because that's a surefire way for people to shut you down or you not to be heard, which is why I'm pretty sure most of y'all, when you get into disagreements with your significant others, that they don't hear a word you said when you up there talking.
Come on. Not communication.
No connection. There's no connection in it, which is why they shut down.
Absolutely.
No
You
connection.
get nothing across when you are talking. So slow down.
Right.
Take a pause.
Right.
Think through those things and ask yourself, is this my inner child wanting to be heard, or is this my healed self wanting to communicate? And 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty sure it's going to be that inner child wanting to be heard. You have to sit down with them.
Yeah.
Just like you would do if you have children, how you would sit down and have a conversation. At least we hope that that's what you would do with your child. Now, do that with yourself. And find out what was needed. What did you need to hear? What was said to you? Like you were saying, you identified where that came from, what your mom said to you, that your mouth will be the death of you. You had a pinpoint. You could go right back to that place and say, this is where it began for me, where I began to shut my mouth. I began to silence my voice. But you couldn't find it if you were up there still all loud and powerful with your voice, though, could you?
Well, could I have? I don't know.
When you figured out that was the thing that caused you to start to silence your voice, how did you know that was the place that you had to go back to? That statement.
Yeah, I'm laughing because there's many examples, but mm, I guess I would say I can pinpoint that because that was almost like the launching point.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so that statement was said, and then I left for the military.
Okay.
And so while in the military, um, I was still rude and crude and disrespectful. And then, of course, I had to learn tact and diplomacy.
Mhm.
But I think, I guess another launching point would have been when I saw the soldiers I was responsible for being spoken to and their voices being taken away.
Wow.
So then I was like, all right, this ain't right. You know what I mean? And so, so it was almost like I don't want to say rebirth, but it was a relaunching.
But you had to
From there.
take
But
time to come into yourself
I
in
did.
order for you to figure that out.
Right.
I did.
Because had you not taken time to come into yourself to figure that out, it would have remained. That launching point where you began to be silent and just come out with your behaviors, you would have never come full circle with it. And that's why I feel like there's a rebirthing of how we think or how we see ourselves in the world around us. So there had to be time. You had to have time where you like, wait a minute. This seems all too familiar. Where did this really start for me? And then in order to speak out for your soldiers, you had to learn to speak out for yourself. Right? So that voice had to be recultivated.
Wow. You know, it was a question that you had asked a few minutes ago about the template and how can we basically not do this with our children. And you had said earlier, safe space, like a safe space. But the reality is, even before we create, I'm going to say before, but as we're creating a safe space for our children, we need to have a safe space for ourselves. What does safety look like to me? You know, since we didn't have, many of us didn't have voices, and we spoke about generational in previous shows. Now it seems like either our generation, our children's generation, somebody is doing the reprogramming, if you will, with that template. What does a safe space look like for you? What does safety look like for you? Ask your children, especially if they're old souls and wise beyond their years. What does safety look like? You know what I'm saying? You may not say it like that, but on their level, how can mommy and daddy help you feel safe? And one of the things that I see people do in that, when you were saying, you know, basically rewriting the narrative, rewriting the script is what I'm gonna say. And we're in our adult lives. Be mindful of how you are when people are trying to communicate with you. Commune, not just talking. Identify, like you said, that was amazing. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this show for myself. But the difference between talking and communicating, which is true, but recognizing yourself, because I had to do this as well. My inner child being hurt and all the things, and my husband's gonna hear me. And baby, them curse words that I cursed, okay? Like, and my voice is already strong, or command voice, as we say in the military. Recognize if you cut people off. Because I remember I used to be bad about that with my husband. Like, I ask him a question. Some of y'all guilty, don't act like that part. Over talking, cutting off. And so I remember I would ask him a question, and he would get ready to respond. Baby, that ain't what I want to hear. So I did overtold. And then in the elevator, next thing you know, we done got to cussing. Let's just be honest, okay? So that is what has taken place. But I had to realize, and I find myself, and I get it now because I'm trying not to lose this thought in my head. Maybe I should just take church notes. But what I do is I say, and then I'm like, oh, baby, I apologize. I didn't mean to cut you off. Continue with what you were saying. Because what he's saying is just as important as what I'm trying to convey. So in that, examine yourself. Don't be like, oh, this is the mission. I'm going to rewrite this script. This is what the Talk.Therapy.Heal people say. Now, baby, you got to do some work in yourself. You have to identify some things. You have to realize, like, our words have power. That's what I was thinking with your mom. And not, you know, to Larisha mama. Because, baby, Larisha mama ain't the only one out there, okay? She ain't the only mama.
She is not.
Let's be clear. You know, everybody wearing them words out. But anyway, so with that, words have power. What are we speaking? And even if we're speaking not as positive as we should be to our children, we're chopping them down with our words and all that. Again, like you just said, is that your 8-year-old self? Is that your 14-year-old self? What in you would make you want to basically curse because it's negativity to your children?
Oh,
Do you still not have a voice?
wait.
Fix your face,
No,
Shan. It's a professional setting.
You'd be surprised
Yeah.
at the number of individuals that still don't have a voice
Oh,
because
yeah.
mom and daddy didn't give them a voice. They go to school, they didn't have a voice. They go to college, professor shuts you down, you don't have a voice. Now I marry somebody, and guess what? Now that person won't let me have the voice that I have either.
Yeah.
Wow.
So basically what you have to do is you have to recognize that, and you have to start to reclaim that to get your voice back.
Yeah.
Now, most people don't understand is when it comes to communication, your voice is not the only mode of communication. Sometimes your voice can come out in other ways. We've had countless individuals who did not have a voice as a child, but when you gave them an opportunity to get in front of a mic, when you put a pen in their hand and they started to write, Maya Angelou,
Yes.
a lot of singers, rappers, we know that they did not have a voice when they were younger, but they found another positive outlet in order to do that. Being an activist, your voice was shut down during the civil rights because blacks couldn't do this, that, and the other, but you started to be an activist, and now your voice was heard, and it empowered other people to have their voice heard. And then one of the things we can all do, if you're able to overcome something, give back mentorship.
Yeah.
If you know that your voice was stifled, but you came over the top and now your voice is being heard, go back and find somebody else or a group of individuals that you can help and help those individuals find their voice. And I think the way that we do that is you reclaim your narrative. Some people say, speak your truth. So many times when people don't have a voice, somebody else wants to try to tell you what you should speak like and what you should say and not say, no, you ain't the one that wrote this story. I ain't.
Right.
You're writing the book right now. We can't go in there and tell her anything about her book. That's her voice and her thoughts and her feelings coming out on that. You have to go in and reclaim that because that will put you on a road to healing.
Yes.
And as you're healing, a big part of that is going to be at some point in time, you have to forgive what has happened in the past. We're not saying forget it, but in order for you to be able to move on, you have to hit that thing straight forward. Maybe this person didn't know what they were doing. Maybe it was intentional, maybe it wasn't. Okay, but I'm going to forgive them so that I can heal and go forward because I can't keep getting pulled back with all the negativity.
You know what? That when you said go back, and reclaim your voice and help others, that is the exact reason why I do what I do today. That's why my practice is called Speak On It.
Yep.
Speak On It Counseling, because I lost my voice earlier on in life, and what it came out was in people pleasing. I wanted to make sure everybody else was good, so the more I wanted to make sure everybody else was good, my voice was stifled even more every single time that I wanted to. But when I found it, I found it the first time in I'm not gonna say a negative way, but I wanted to be heard. You gonna hear me,
Right.
and ain't nothing you gonna say that's gonna shut me down. And oh my word, my words cut like a butcher knife, not a kitchen knife, a butcher knife. And it took my husband to call me out on it because I was speaking to someone who was supposed to be a foundational person in my life. And I was on the phone, y'all, leaving church. We were on our way home from church. And I'm on the phone with him. Our kids was in the back. So I'm not cursing. I never said a curse word. When I got off the phone with him, my husband was like, babe, you cut that man in so many ways with your words till I hurt for him. I was like, what did I say? Because I ain't say nothing that was wrong. It was my truth. My truth. But I could have said it differently.
Absolutely.
So I had to learn to cultivate my voice in a way that I calmed that little girl inside because that's who was pissed.
Right.
That's who was mad. She
Absolutely.
was the one who was speaking to him like that, and she didn't know. She was respectful. She ain't gonna curse because she knew better than to curse.
Absolutely.
But she was mad, and she let him know that she was mad. But it was that little girl in me coming out. And so what I had to learn to do, talk about how can we help people really cultivate and rebuild and recreate or reframe, rewrite whatever you want to do. Read everything. Read. That means to go back and do it over.
Right.
I had to start writing down things that I needed to say before I would speak them, because writing it down helped for me to see what I was going to say and make sure that when I said it, I was able to say everything that needed to come out without adding emotion to it. And so that was huge for me. And that's one thing that I pass on to my clients even today when I'm helping them to reclaim their voice, to find their voice again. We start small. Write it down. And here's the thing. We're going to set rules. There's going to be boundaries when we start the conversation. I am going to say some things to you, but I need to get it all out before you interrupt me. Don't stop me. This is the rule pretty much. After I'm done, you get to respond. If you need a minute to come back to me to respond, that's fine. You could take your time, but I need to be able to get out everything that I wrote here. So when I tell my clients, this is exactly what I did. Write it down, remove the emotion, only use the facts.
That's it. And you know,
Only
this
the facts.
this is crazy.
Good.
When we started Talk.Therapy.Heal a few years ago, we all had ideas, we all had thoughts, and we figured out how we were going to pull this together to try to help people heal. And what you just said, you said, this is the reason why you got in this business. Now watch this. This is crazy. What's the name of our counseling business?
Ear to Hair Consultant and Counseling.
What is yours,
Speak on it, counselor.
Miss Larisha?
Healed for the journey.
Look, and then we can't leave Miss Rachel.
Yeah.
Get to the root counseling.
Yes.
It's all right there. You
Yeah.
know, this was meant to be.
Right.
And I think our journeys that we have had in life, we're doing the exact same thing here because some of us did not have a voice. Some of us have been told negative things, but we have been able to take care of ourselves, and we went and did the work for ourselves and counseling and things of that nature. And this is how we're trying to give back. This is not an attempt to try to get rich and make a lot of money. This is an attempt to get people to understand you can have a higher quality of life if you go back to the root and work on those things that hurt you so that you can move forward to the point where you are healed for your journey.
Oh, my God. I got it. I thought, because I just, as we're talking, and we know social media is a big deal right now, right? And people tend to go to social media and post a monologue about what their just using their voice. And like I said before, the whole thing of speaking or talking, but not communicating. But you get on there and you bare your soul on social media. And I'm wondering, does it do anything for you?
That's good.
Does it provide for you what you thought it was going to provide? Does it give the relief that you thought it was going to give? Does it heal you in the places that you need to be healed? Or is it just a temporary fix that you find yourself having to go back and do day after day?
I think for some, though, it's the open door. The first step probably that they take, because I think a lot of times they will go back and they will look at it and they'll say, oh man, I felt this and this. Oh man, I seen this. You know what I mean? And this. But the end state of it is, if there's nothing that comes of it and you're just talking, you know what I mean? Where's the growth? Where's the healing?
Right.
And that's good.
Right. Because there could definitely be growth in it. I even have some of my clients where I tell them to, if you can't write it audio or video yourself, because it is a great tool for you to get it out. But you have to know what is the end result of it. What am I hoping to gain from it if I do this? Because my hands are like years of college. I can't take another note. Let me tell you. Like my hand will not hold a pen or a pencil to write nothing. And I got journals that I done wrote in for too many years. So now I have to have a digital journal because the hands just ain't handing no more. So I have used video and audio and I'll just record myself and go back and listen to it because I use it for growth. I want to see where I've been. If I'm still talking about the same thing 3 months later, there's a problem.
You're stuck.
Like I'm stuck. Yeah, I'm stuck. I need to get a little bit deeper into it and figure out what is the problem. We talked about this even before because I feel like for me, even being voiceless earlier on, and now as times are changing with different things, and social media is the new news outlets, or it's the white pages now. It's how people vet people. We're not really going in face to face.
Right.
People want to see you on social media, but for me, using my voice to put it out for other people has been a struggle for me. And I know it stems from the fact part of it is from being voiceless or not having a voice before. And now it's like, girl, do people really want to hear your voice?
Right.
Like this, when we started Talk Therapy here, I was like, oh my God. People about to hear your voice, girl. People about to see your face. But the feedback has been great. Now, and that's so weird because you're like, you a whole counselor. I am.
Right.
And am.
Right.
The one-on-ones is perfectly fine for me. I can even do a group and be fine with it. But when you talk about the possibility of the nation, the world, hearing your voice, girl.
They need to hear it.
Yeah.
And that was the thing I was going to share. This is a thought that came up as well. And it kind of lined up what you just said. Me and my husband was speaking about this. Please be mindful of when you speak. When you talk, let me clarify that. When you talk about people and the way that they speak, that can stifle the voice as well. So for me, I'm speaking like this now, but I'm literally a country girl from Oklahoma. And the country about to come out just so y'all can see. But I was talking to my husband and I was like, why do people always come down on country people like we slow? Like we don't know anything. Like y'all talk slow down yonder and all this other kind of stuff. And then it made me mad because I thought about it and I ain't put my baby business out there, but a lot of us would have to go to speech therapy because we had to speak proper English. But what I told Kenya was this. Now, anybody from Oklahoma, Texas, and all the way over to probably some parts of Florida, some Tennessee and Kentucky, country, we have a very country dialect. But why is it not like that for people that are from California? Why is it not like that for people who from Jersey, who from Boston, New Boston? It wasn't until going into the military that I would hear different dialects. Theirs got praised, ours did not. And so for me, that was a struggle, like what you're saying, because I'm not gonna lie, I dealt with perfectionism. It's not good enough because I'm not speaking proper enough. But the reality is it makes my head hurt. To try to, it's like translating, if you speak Spanish, trying to speak in English just to be accepted. I say all that to say, regardless, God has made us who we are. Use your voice regardless.
Yeah.
And so if I'm going to do it, and that's what I had to learn. So for some of you out there that's like, well, I got a voice and God done put this in me to say this, that, and the other, but you don't because it's not perfect. Do it scared. It makes me think about the young lady Glorilla. It made me think about what's that football player do? He just as country as can be. Talking about eating coon and stuff. She did a video with him here recently. I cannot. His name got an L in it. Anyway, he just as country as ought to be as well. And at first, when people start speaking to him, they were mocking him because he was country. And then him and Country Glorilla from Mississippi do all video together. I was here for Memphis. There we go, from Memphis, Tennessee. I was so excited because now country is the thing. It's in style, baby. We always been in style. Don't stifle your voice because of how you speak, and be mindful of those of you who say, oh no, baby, you're not good enough. Or you telling your spouse or your sister or brother they're not good enough because your country and the people won't accept you. We gonna talk about when did Moses?
Yeah.
Oh, we could talk about Moses in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Had a whole stuttering problem, and the people heard him.
Yeah.
And he led the people.
And did.
Come on now,
Yeah.
don't make me
And
get preaching.
And I think
okay.
I think people need people need encouragement to bring that stuff out. Because some people get stifled and shut down, like you said, because of how you speak, or sometimes it's what you want to say. And when I get individuals to see me, they'll come in and that, well, I just don't know what to say. I just say it. The best way that you can, just get it out. That's what we are here for, is to hear you and try to help you get your words out, translate, whatever the case may be, so that you have that voice in that moment with your therapist. And so that way you can carry it from the therapist's office out into life.
Right.
I think we have been conditioned
And have
to try to think so hard about what we're going to say so that we don't cause offense to anyone else.
Oh my God.
Instead of just saying what it is you have to say.
Yes.
And then having a conversation about, no, I wasn't trying to offend you. I'm just saying from this point of view, you have to look at it like this. But nowadays it's like, hold on a minute, let me get my words right.
Take this word out.
I ain't trying to get sued. I ain't trying to do this. People go take things out of context instead of having conversations.
So fear of judgment.
Absolutely. But this is the thing that gets me. We can do this when we want to do it. It's just that certain situations dictate that, okay, we're going to go up in church and I'm going to say this, but now I got to say it in a certain way because I'm in church. Now, I understand being respectful of being in church, but we had a pastor one time and we had a young lady said something just off the cuff, and everybody else was like, and the pastor's like, no, oh, wait a minute.
Right.
That's how she knows how to speak.
Yeah.
So let her get her words out until she is taught or she learns how to present things judgmental. And so the last thing I'll say here is that I want to try to encourage some individuals that may have lost their voice. Y'all know Shan said I'm country as all get out. You just heard it. And I was raised up a lot of times on farms and things of that nature. So I dealt with a lot of animals, especially dogs and cats. Dog can have a litter of puppies. And a lot of times people will get around, they'll be looking at the puppies and they're looking for the smallest one because they'll say that is the runt of the litter. That runt has to fight for everything it has. Mom only may have 7 or 8 teats that are working for the baby, but she's got that 9th puppy. And guess what he has to do in order to get that? He has to holler. And you will see them laying there with their eyes closed, making noises because they can't get to what they need to get the nourishment that they need. And a lot of times when it comes to a child's voice, that is the nourishment they need, is to speak, talk, and talk about their feelings so that they don't have to scream to a certain point. But this is the thing that's kind of crazy about that. A lot of times the runt of the litter ends up being the biggest one.
And do.
Because once they find that T, hey, look, I'm right here. Everybody else moving on. I ain't going nowhere. I'm staying right here. So I get my meal.
Right by the nourishment.
Yeah, mama move, I'm moving too.
Yeah.
So that shows you that if somebody isn't hearing your voice, you need to move where your voice can be heard. You have to get that substance that you need in order to propel you to get to that other point. But even in doing so, still realize your brothers and sisters around you need some encouragement as well.
Yes, that's so good.
Come on now.
Oh, that's so good.
That's, to me,
That
that's like
appreciate-
Yeah, but then it sounds like to me as well, especially for those who fear speaking out in larger crowds or giving speeches over social media or whatnot, your people, you'll find your people. Your
Yes.
people are there. You get, like you said, the nourishment will be
It will
there.
be there.
It will be there.
Mhm.
Wow.
Wow. So
Safety.
move
Yeah.
where your
That's what
people
it's-
are.
Yeah.
Safety.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I feel safe, then if you provide a safe space for me, I can share my voice. I don't have to do like most people do. When you can tell somebody's visibly struggling and you're like, how are you doing? Oh, I'm good. I'm fine. No, you are not.
Mhm.
Use your voice. But then it could be foreign. And so I know I had shared with somebody that was like, dang, Shan, I didn't think about it like this. Because think about, like, if I ask my husband how he's doing, and I know as his wife, because I've been with him so many years to know that's not the truth. You know, I'm not going to nag him and badger him like I used to do because I've matured. Right. Be like, I know something wrong with you. You lying. You know, I don't do that anymore. But I will give him space, girl. Okay. I will give him space because I'm like, okay, I'll just give him some space and I'll come back around. But what I've been sharing with people to do is say, whatever, how can I support you in this moment?
Yeah.
That is so
That's
powerful.
That's my phrase.
How
That is
can
my
I support you in this moment? Because what that does is, and whoever I was just telling this in the last couple of weeks, that's going to make that person, first I got to think, how can Nikki support me in this moment? Then after I think, I got to feel, and that may be connected together. I may be feeling first, then I got to think, then I have to verbalize and deliver to you, this is how you can help me. And that get past that, I'm good. No, you're not. No, you're not. How can I help you in this moment? And listen.
Oh, yeah.
Listen. Don't cut them off when they get to talking. Forget you some shut up in your spirit. Listen.
Get some.
I'm just saying.
I love that statement. It's kind of the same thing that I would use. What do you need from me right now?
Yes.
Wow.
What do you need for me to do for you right now? Because a lot of people don't feel that safety. I remember, and I said a long time ago on a few shows where I had to tell my husband, I am not your enemy. I am not here to combat you. I am here to support you.
Right.
But my words before didn't show that I was supporting. He didn't feel safe enough to tell me. He didn't want to be vulnerable because my words were cutting him up. My words was cutting like oh my God, like a butcher knife.
Right.
So he didn't feel like he could tell me. I was, oh my God, I was creating a unsafe space, which caused him to be voiceless.
And you know, for me,
Wow.
I love social media from the aspect is it helps you tie into people that you may have lost contact with. It helps you to be able to gain a little bit of knowledge and understanding because of the power of the internet. But this is what I would encourage individuals that don't have that voice. Get off of social media and go sit in front of somebody. Get to someone that will listen to what you have to say and help you navigate your journey instead of throwing stuff out there that may be falling on deaf ears. Because a lot of people on social media, they will say they're doing one thing and they will be there for you, this, that, and the other, but it's just to get that like, that share, that, this, that, and the other.
Right.
But do they really have your best interest at heart? So I would say, you know, try social media. I'm not going to say it's completely bad, but get in front of somebody where you can have that person's undivided attention because that's what they do so that you can get those things that are on the inside of you finally out.
Oh, y'all. Yes. This has been great. I wish we can continue on, but we are at again. We are at the end. So real quick, if we can, the lasting thing that we want to leave with people before we turn out for tonight. My thing is I would like to ask you is what does your authentic voice sound like today? Authentic, your truest form of voice. What does it sound like today? If you don't know, go find it.
That's good. I would say be mindful. Like I was speaking earlier, the communication exchange that you have with others. Like Nikki was saying, I have to piggyback off her. Are you talking? Are you communicating with that person? Are you listening to gain understanding truly? Are you listening to respond? And if it's the latter, that may be why people move away from you and do not like to communicate with you. Heal.
Yes.
I would just say don't suffer in silence. Speak to someone.
That's good. That's good. I would ask, question, when I speak right now, which part of me is speaking? Kind of like you were saying. But then I would also go as far as to give that inner child a seat at the table.
Oh, yeah.
Give that inner child a seat at
I'm
the
at the head
table.
too.
Not at the kids' table.
Because if not, they're going to demand it.
Yes.
Woo. All right, y'all. We hope and pray that something that was said here on tonight will penetrate your heart, your mind, your spirit, your soul, that will cause you to want to change so that you are no longer walking around voiceless, that you will find and cultivate your voice in a healthy manner. If you need to, go back and re-listen, re-watch this episode, because I feel like a lot of us need to listen to it again and maybe go into greater depths into finding someone, like Kenya said, who can walk with you through this. Get some help. Don't suffer in silence. Thank you all so much for joining us here at Talk Therapy Heal. If you are watching through YouTube, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and that notification bell. And then if you're listening to us on a podcast, please be sure to share with someone. We all need this. Until next time, be blessed and be loved here at Talk Therapy Heal. Bye.
Bye.